The massive ships came from the stars on a Tuesday morning. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each ship was the size of a small city, black metal gleaming in the sunlight. There were 50 of them, floating silently above Earth's major cities. Commander Lee Daeho stood in the war room, watching the giant screens that showed the alien fleet. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. For 20 years he had served in the Earth Defense Force. He had trained for wars against other humans. He had never trained for this. "Sir, they're not responding to any of our messages," said Lieutenant Choi Yuna. She was young, maybe 25, with short black hair and worried eyes. Her hands moved quickly over the communication controls, trying every frequency, every language Earth knew. Dr. Park Min-ji walked into the room. She was Earth's best scientist who studied life from other worlds. Of course, until today they had never found any life from other worlds. She carried a tablet computer and looked excited, even though everyone else looked terrified. "Commander," she said, "I've been studying the ships. The metal they're made from doesn't exist on Earth. The energy readings are incredible. These beings are far more advanced than us." "How far?" asked Lee Daeho. "Maybe 1,000 years ahead of us. Maybe more." Before Lee Daeho could answer, all the screens in the room changed. The image of the alien ships disappeared. Instead, they saw a face that was not human. The creature looked like a giant insect. Its head was long and narrow with 4 eyes that glowed yellow. Its skin was dark green and looked hard like armor. When it spoke, its voice was deep and strange. But somehow they could understand the words. "People of Earth," it said. "I am Hive Commander Thaxel of the Valerian Empire. We have come to your world in peace. We do not wish to hurt you, but your world has resources we need. You will surrender your military forces. You will gather in the cities we choose for you. You will be protected and cared for. This is not a request. This is how things will be." The message ended. The screens went back to showing the alien ships. Lee Daeho looked around the room. Every person was staring at him, waiting for orders. He thought about his daughter, who was studying at university in Seoul. He thought about his wife, who taught children at a small school. He thought about all the people on Earth who were probably watching this same message right now. "Sir?" "Lieutenant," Choi Yuna asked quietly. "Get me Captain Kim Jae-won," Lee Daeho said. Captain Kim Jae-won was the commander of humanity's newest battleship, the Seoul's Pride. He was 40 years old, built like a soldier, with scars on his hands from years of military service. When his face appeared on the screen, Lee Daeho could see space behind him. Kim Jae-won was already in orbit, his ship ready for battle. "Captain," Lee Daeho said, "what do you think?" Kim Jae-won's face was hard. "I think they're used to people giving up without a fight. I think they expect us to be scared." "Are you scared?" Lee Daeho asked. "Yes, sir, but I'm also angry. Nobody gets to just take our world." Dr. Park Min-ji stepped forward. "Commander, we should consider their offer. If they're really 1,000 years ahead of us, fighting them would be suicide. Maybe we can negotiate, maybe we can find a way to share the planet. And maybe they'll treat us like pets in a zoo," said Kim Jae-won from the screen. Lee Daeho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "We fight. Not because we think we can win, but because some things are worth fighting for, even when you can't win." The first battle happened 3 hours later. The alien ships moved slowly over the cities. They didn't fire massive weapons that would destroy everything. Instead, they used precise beams of energy that hit only military bases, communication towers, and government buildings. It was almost gentle, the way an adult might take a toy away from a child. Captain Kim Jae-won led 12 human ships against the alien fleet. The human ships were fast and new, with the best weapons Earth could build. They fired everything they had at the alien vessels. The weapons bounced off the alien ships like raindrops hitting a window. The aliens fired back. Their weapons were not meant to destroy, only to disable. Kim Jae-won watched his engines die. His weapons stopped working. His life support systems shut down one by one. But the aliens didn't kill him. They didn't kill any of the human crews. Instead, rescue ships came and took the disabled human vessels back to Earth. It was the strangest war anyone had ever seen. The aliens could have destroyed all of humanity in an hour, but they didn't. They wanted Earth intact. They wanted humans alive. Over the next 2 weeks, the same thing happened again and again. Human forces would attack. The aliens would disable them without killing anyone. Then the aliens would take over another important location. In her laboratory, Dr. Park Minji studied every piece of alien technology she could find. She worked day and night trying to understand how their weapons worked, how their ships flew, how they thought. "They're not evil," she told Lee Dae-ho one evening. Both of them looked exhausted. "They really think they're helping us. In their minds, they're saving us from ourselves. By taking away our freedom?" Lee Dae-ho asked. "They don't see it that way. I think they've done this before to other worlds. I think they have a system." Lee Dae-ho nodded. "Show up, demonstrate superior power, wait for surrender, then take care of the defeated species like children." "Exactly, but Commander," Dr. Park Minji looked worried. "I don't think they understand humans very well." Meanwhile, in orbit, Hive Commander Thaxel studied reports from his officers. Everything was going according to plan. The humans had fought for 2 weeks, exactly like most species did. Their leaders were starting to talk about surrender. Soon, they would formally give up, and the integration process could begin. "Sir," said Science Officer Corvain, "the humans are behaving mostly as expected. However, there are some unusual energy signatures from their settlements." "Unusual how?" "They appear to be modifying things. Equipment, vehicles, buildings. Most conquered species gather in groups and wait for instructions. These humans seem to be working on projects." Thaxel was not worried. "They're probably trying to build more weapons. It doesn't matter. Our shields can stop anything they might create." "Yes, sir, but there's something else. Our scouts report that instead of gathering in large groups, the humans are spreading out, moving to smaller settlements. Some are going underground." "Underground?" "Yes, sir. Mining tunnels, basements, subway systems. They're moving resources and people into hidden places." Thaxel thought about this. Most species, when faced with superior force, gathered together for protection. They looked to their leaders to save them. But humans seem to be doing the opposite. "Keep watching them," he ordered. "But don't worry too much. In 43 previous conquests, we have never failed. Humans are just taking a little longer to accept reality." But down on Earth, reality was not what the aliens thought it was. In a small town outside Seoul, engineer Han Dong-woo worked in a basement with 5 other people. They had pieces of alien technology that had fallen from damaged ships. Han Dong-woo had been building machines since he was a child. Now he was trying to understand machines built by creatures from the stars. "Look at this," he said to his team. "The power source is incredible, but the design is simple. Almost too simple." In the countryside, farmer Yang Sun-woo was doing something that looked like normal farm work, but his tractors had been modified with metal plating. His irrigation system could be quickly changed into something else entirely. And in his barn, where he used to keep cows, there were now things that were definitely not farm equipment. In the factories, worker Shin Hyejin organized her colleagues. They worked during the day making the products the aliens wanted. But at night they made other things the aliens didn't know about. The aliens thought they understood humans. They thought humans were like the 43 other species they had conquered. But they were wrong. Humans were just getting started. 3 months had passed since the alien ships arrived. Commander Lee Dae-ho stood in what used to be the United Nations building in New York. Now it was called the Human Administration Center. The aliens had renamed it, just like they had renamed everything else. The surrender ceremony was simple. Lee Dae-ho wore his best uniform, but he felt empty inside. Around him stood other human leaders from every country on Earth. They all looked defeated. The cameras were rolling. The whole world was watching. Hive Commander Thaxel stood at the front of the room. He was even taller than he looked on the screens, maybe 8 feet high. His 4 yellow eyes watched the humans with what might have been satisfaction, People of Earth, Thaxel said in his deep, strange voice. Today you join the Valerian Empire. You will be protected. You will be fed. You will be given work that helps everyone. Your suffering is over. Li Deho stepped forward. The words tasted bitter in his mouth, but he said them anyway. On behalf of Earth's governments, I surrender our military forces to the Valerian Empire. We accept your protection. The cameras stopped rolling. The ceremony was over. Earth officially belonged to the aliens now. But something was wrong with this picture. Dr. Park Minji knew it even if the aliens didn't. She now worked as a human liaison officer. Her job was to help the aliens understand human behavior and help humans understand alien rules. She had an office in the administration center, and she met with alien officers every day. Dr. Park, said Science Officer Corvain during one of their meetings, we need your help understanding something. The human population is not behaving as expected. Dr. Park Minji looked at the alien scientist. Corvain was smaller than Thaxel, with lighter green skin and only 2 eyes instead of 4. He seemed more curious than threatening. What do you mean? She asked. In our previous conquests, defeated populations gather in large groups near our administrative centers. They wait for instructions. They ask for food and shelter. But humans are doing the opposite. They're spreading out, moving to small towns and rural areas. Many are living underground. Dr. Park Minji nodded. Humans don't like being crowded together. We need space to think. But why are they not asking for our help? We can provide everything they need. Maybe they want to provide for themselves, she said carefully. Corvain made a note on his tablet. This is unusual, but not problematic. As long as they follow our rules, their living arrangements don't matter. Dr. Park Minji smiled and said nothing. But inside she was thinking about all the things the aliens didn't know, all the things humans were doing that had nothing to do with following rules. In a small town called Anyang, engineer Han Dongwu had made an amazing discovery. He was working in an underground workshop with 12 other engineers and scientists. They had collected alien technology from dozens of sources, pieces that fell from ships, equipment left behind by alien survey teams, even garbage from alien camps. Look at this, Han Dongwu said, holding up a small device. It's a communication unit. But the security is terrible. It's like they never thought anyone would try to break into their systems. His colleague, Dr. Kwon Minho, looked over his shoulder. Can you crack it? I already did. 3 hours ago. Han Dongwu smiled. And that's not the best part. Their technology is advanced, but it's not creative. Everything is built the same way, following the same patterns. Once you understand one piece, you can understand all of it. In another part of the workshop, engineer Yu Siona was working on something that looked like a normal car engine. But it wasn't normal anymore. She had added parts from alien technology, creating something new. Test it, Han Dongwu said. Yu Siona turned on the engine. It ran silently with no exhaust, no heat signature, and no electromagnetic signal. To any alien scanner, it would look like the engine wasn't running at all. Perfect, Han Dongwu said. Now we can move things without them knowing. Meanwhile, in the countryside outside Busan, farmer Yang Sunwoo was teaching a very unusual farming class. 20 people sat in his barn, but they weren't learning about crops. The aliens think we're just growing food, Yang Sunwoo said. But farms are perfect for hiding things. Underground storage, hidden workshops, secret communication networks. We have hundreds of acres and they can't watch all of it. One of his students, a former factory worker named Lim Gihwan, raised his hand. What about their flying scouts? Yang Sunwoo smiled. That's the beautiful part. Look. He led them outside to his fields. From above, everything looked normal. Rows of vegetables, irrigation pipes, farm equipment. But Yang Sunwoo pressed a hidden button, and part of the field opened, up revealing a workshop underneath. The irrigation pipes aren't just for water, he explained. They're communication cables. The farm equipment includes things that definitely aren't for farming, and those aren't just vegetables growing in neat rows. Some of those rows hide other things. In the cities, the situation was more dangerous but equally productive. Factory worker Shin Hye-jin had organized something the aliens never expected: industrial resistance. She worked at a manufacturing plant in Incheon that now made products for the Valerian Empire. The aliens wanted simple things: metal parts, electronic components, food packaging. During the day, Shin Hye-jin and her colleagues made exactly what the aliens ordered, but the factory ran 3 shifts. The aliens only monitored the day shift. "Remember," Shin Hye-jin told her night shift workers, "we make their orders first. Always. But we have extra capacity, extra materials, and extra time. What we do with that is our business." The night shift made other things that looked innocent but weren't, things that could be easily hidden and quickly transported, things that would be very useful later. Worker Park Jae-suk operated a machine that made metal brackets for alien equipment, but the same machine could make other metal shapes. Worker Kim Sun-hee worked with electronics for alien communication systems, but electronics were electronics. They could be used for many things. The beautiful part, Shin Hye-jin explained to new workers, is that they're teaching us to use their own technology. They want us to understand their systems so we can maintain them. They don't realize we can also modify them. Captain Kim Jae-won was officially a prisoner of war. His ship had been disabled in the first battle, and he was now living in a comfortable detention facility outside Seoul. But the detention facility was not as secure as the aliens thought. Every night, Kim Jae-won met with other captured military officers. They shared information, made plans, and coordinated with people outside the facility. The guards were alien robots that followed simple patterns. Once you understood the patterns, avoiding them was easy. "The resistance is growing," Kim Jae-won told his fellow prisoners during one midnight meeting. "According to Lieutenant Choi Yuna, we have active cells in every major city and most small towns. The aliens think they're in control, but they're only controlling the surface." Former Air Force pilot Lee Jina nodded. "My contacts tell me that engineer Han Dongwoo's team has figured out how to modify our aircraft. We might actually be able to fight back soon. But we have to be careful," warned Colonel Jang Min-soo. "If we move too early, they'll realize what's happening. We need them to keep thinking we're defeated." On the alien command ship, Hive Commander Thaxel was beginning to feel uneasy. The conquest of Earth had been declared successful 3 months ago. The humans had surrendered. Their leaders were cooperating. Production of needed resources was ahead of schedule, but small things kept going wrong. "Sir," reported Scout Leader Veltar, "we've lost another supply convoy. That's the 5th one this month." "Mechanical failure?" Thaxel asked. "Unknown. The vehicles were found abandoned with no signs of attack. All the supplies were gone, but there was no damage to the vehicles themselves." "And the investigation?" "Our analysis team found no evidence of human involvement, but—" Veltar hesitated. "The vehicles were abandoned in locations that made recovery difficult for us, but would be easy for humans to access." Science Officer Corvain added his own report. "Sir, I'm also seeing unusual patterns in human settlements. Energy usage is higher than expected in rural areas. There's more underground construction than normal, and communication traffic is strange." "Strange how?" "It follows patterns we don't recognize, like a code, but not any code in our databases." Thaxel was quiet for a moment. In 43 previous conquests, the post-surrender period had been peaceful. The defeated species focused on adapting to their new lives under Valerian protection. They didn't cause problems. "Increase surveillance," he ordered. "I want to know what the humans are doing." But it was already too late. The humans had spent 3 months learning, adapting, and preparing. They had studied alien technology, reverse-engineered alien systems, and built networks the aliens couldn't see. Dr. Park Min-ji submitted her daily report to Science Officer Corvain, just like always. The report said that humans were adapting well to Valerian rule. It said there were no signs of organized resistance. It said everything was going according to plan. Every word of the report was a lie. But it was a lie the aliens wanted to believe, so they believed it. 6 months after the surrender, everything changed in a single morning. It started at exactly 6 a.m. Earth time. Across the planet, in every major city where the aliens had built their control centers, the same thing happened at the same moment. The lights went out. Not just electric lights, all lights. Every alien device, every alien vehicle, every alien communication system went dark and silent all at once. In the Valerian command ship above New York, Hive Commander Thaxel watched his control screens die one by one. Emergency. Power kicked in, but even that felt weak and unreliable. "Report," he demanded. Science Officer Corvain worked frantically at his station. "Sir, it's not an attack on our power systems. It's something else. Our technology is rejecting our commands." "That's impossible." "Sir, I'm reading massive electromagnetic interference on frequencies we didn't know existed. Someone has found a way to disrupt our control signals." On Earth, in a hidden bunker beneath the city of Daegu, Engineer Han Dongwu smiled as he watched. His master control panel, every light on the panel was green. Every system was working perfectly. "Phase 2 is active," he announced to his team. "All alien systems in all major cities are now under our control." His colleague, Dr. Kwon Minho, looked amazed. "How is this possible? Their technology is supposed to be 1,000 years ahead of ours." Han Dongwu laughed. "That's exactly the problem. Their technology is too advanced for its own good. They built everything to connect to everything else. Perfect integration, perfect efficiency. But that means if you control the network, you control everything." In another part of the bunker, Engineer Yu Siona was monitoring alien communications. "Han Dongwu, they're trying to call for help, but their communication systems are looping back on themselves. Every message they send is being returned to them as nonsense." "Good. How long until they figure out what we've done?" "At their current rate of investigation, maybe 2 hours, maybe less if they're smarter than we think. Then we have 2 hours to show them what humans can really do." At exactly 6:15 a.m., the second part of the plan began. In Seoul, Commander Lee, Daeho walked out of the Human Administration Center. But he wasn't walking out as a defeated leader anymore. He was walking out as the commander of the largest military force on Earth. Behind him came Captain Kim Jae-won, who was supposed to be a prisoner. Behind Kim Jae-won came 50 other military officers who were also supposed to be prisoners. None of them looked defeated anymore. "Citizens of Earth," Lee Daeho said into a camera that was broadcasting to every human communication system on the planet. 6 months ago, we surrendered to save lives. Today, we take back our world. The aliens had spent 6 months thinking they controlled Earth's communication systems. They were wrong. Every human television, every human radio, every human internet connection had been quietly modified by Shin Hye-jin's industrial networks. The aliens could watch human communications, but they didn't control them. Dr. Park Minji appeared on the FAO. Broadcast next. She had been the helpful liaison officer, always smiling, always cooperative. Now she looked different, dangerous. "I have spent 6 months studying our visitors," she said. "I know their weaknesses. I know how their biology works, I know how their minds work, and I know exactly how to stop them." She held up a small device. "This is a sonic disruptor tuned to Valerian brain frequencies. Their hive mind communication depends on specific sound waves. This device can scramble those waves, causing confusion, disorientation, and panic." On the alien command ship, Hive Commander Thaxel was experiencing exactly those symptoms. The bridge was chaos. Officers stumbled around, holding their heads, unable to think clearly. "Sir," Scout Leader Veltar called out, "the humans are moving. Large groups all over the planet." But Thaxel could barely understand the words. The sonic disruptors weren't just affecting individual aliens. They were disrupting the entire Valerian command structure. In the countryside outside Gwangju, Farmer Yang Sunwoo was leading what looked like the strangest army in human history. His soldiers rode modified tractors and farm equipment, but the equipment was armed with weapons that combined human engineering with alien technology. "Remember," Yang Sunwoo told his people over their radios. We're not trying to destroy their ships. We're trying to capture them. Every alien vessel we take intact gives us more technology to work with. His second-in-command, former city worker, Lim Gihwan, pointed to the horizon. There. Alien transport flying low, probably trying to evacuate their people from the nearest city. Perfect. Use the net launchers. What the aliens thought was farm equipment opened up to reveal weapons that shot energy nets. The nets wrapped around the alien transport, shorting out its engines and forcing it to land. Human soldiers swarmed. The vessel before the alien crew could recover from their sonic-induced confusion. In Busan, factory worker Shin Hyejin was leading her own kind of attack. Her target wasn't alien ships or alien soldiers. Her target was the alien manufacturing centers where human workers had been making products for the Valerian Empire. Every factory, every workshop, every production line, she announced to her teams. We built them, we know how they work, and now we take them back. But Shin Hyejin's people weren't just taking back the factories. They were modifying them. The same production lines that had been making simple components for the aliens were now making weapons, vehicles, and equipment for the human resistance. Worker Park Jae-suk, who had been making metal brackets for 6 months, was now operating a machine that produced armor plating for human vehicles. Worker Kim Sun-hee, who had been maintaining alien electronics, was now building communication jamming devices. The beautiful thing, Shin Hyejin explained to a news camera, is that we've been practicing for months. We know their technology better than they do now. We've been improving it, modifying it, and making it work for us instead of them. Captain Kim Jae-won had a different job. He was leading the attack on the alien spaceships themselves. The aliens had thought their ships were safe, in orbit. They were wrong. 6 months of studying alien technology had taught humans how to build spacecraft that could reach orbit undetected. All squadrons, this is Captain Kim Jae-won, he said over the radio as his small fleet approached the massive alien vessels. Remember, we're not the same humans who fought them 6 months ago. We have their weapons now, we have their shields now, and we know things about their ships they don't even know themselves. Pilot Lee Jina, flying beside him in a ship that looked human but flew with alien technology, responded, ready to show them what happens when humans stop playing by their rules. The space battle was nothing like the first battle 6 months earlier. This time, human ships didn't bounce harmlessly off alien shields. This time, human weapons cut through alien armor like it was made of paper. This time, the aliens were the ones who were outmatched. But the most devastating attack wasn't physical, it was psychological. Communications specialist Park Sung-min had spent months studying how the Valerian hive mind worked. Now he was using that knowledge against them. Broadcasting on all Valerian frequencies, he announced from his control center in Daejeon. Let's see how they handle a little chaos in their perfect order. The message he sent wasn't in human language. It was in Valerian language, using Valerian communication protocols. But the content was designed to create maximum confusion in a hive mind species. Attention all Valerian units, the message said. This is Hive Commander Thaxel. New orders. All ships retreat to coordinates that do not exist. All ground forces advance to positions that contradict previous orders. All science officers investigate impossible phenomena. Priority. Maximum confusion. Repeat. Maximum confusion. The message was obviously fake, but the Valerian hive mind had trouble processing contradictory information. Across the planet, alien forces received conflicting orders and couldn't determine which ones were real. On the command ship, Science Officer Corvain was trying to make sense of the situation. Sir, we're receiving reports that make no sense. Our forces are saying they've been ordered to retreat and advance simultaneously. Our technology is working and failing at the same time. Our human subjects are surrendering and attacking at the same time. Hive Commander Thaxel forced himself to think through the sonic disruption that was scrambling his thoughts. The humans, he said slowly, they're not what we thought they were. Sir? We assumed they were like the other species we've conquered, but they're not. They're different. Different how? Thaxel looked at the reports coming in from across the planet. Everywhere his forces were being outmaneuvered by creatures that were supposed to be primitive. Everywhere human technology was proving superior to Valerian technology, even though the humans had learned everything from the Valerians themselves. They don't just adapt, he said. They improve. They don't just learn our technology. They make it better. They don't just copy our strategies. They invent new ones we never imagined. By noon, 6 hours after the uprising began, the situation on Earth had completely reversed. Humans controlled most major cities. Human forces were capturing alien equipment faster than the aliens could destroy it. 1 year after the invasion began, the war was over. The Valerian Empire had lost. Hive Commander Thaxel sat in what used to be his command center, but now it was his prison. The room looked the same, but everything had changed. Human guards stood at the door. Human technicians operated the alien equipment. Human flags hung where Valerian symbols used to be. "Commander Thaxel," said Lee Daho, walking into the room. The human leader looked different now, stronger, more confident. Behind him walked Dr. Park Minji, Captain Kim Jae-won, and other humans who had once been prisoners or servants. "We need to talk," Lee Daho said. Thaxel's 4 yellow eyes focused on the humans. "What is there to talk about? You have won. We have lost. This has never happened before in Valerian history." "That's exactly what we want to talk about," said Dr. Park Minji. She sat down across from the alien commander. "You said this has never happened before. But we think it has happened before. You just didn't know it." She activated a holographic display that showed star maps. "Over the past 6 months, we've been contacting other worlds in your empire, worlds you conquered years ago, and we've discovered something interesting." The display showed dozens of star systems. These species didn't disappear after you conquered them. They went underground. They've been waiting, learning, preparing, just like we did. Thaxel stared at the display. "Impossible. Our conquered species are peaceful. They accept our protection." Captain Kim Jae-won laughed. "That's what you thought about us too. But here's what really happened. You conquered species that were weaker than you, but you didn't destroy them, you just pushed them down, and while you weren't looking, they got stronger." Dr. Park Minji pointed to specific systems on the map. "The Rilari from the Vega system. You conquered them 8 years ago. They've been building hidden fleets ever since. The Corvani from Alpha Centauri. You conquered them 5 years ago. They've been developing new weapons in secret." "How do you know this?" Thaxel asked. "Because we taught them how to contact each other," said Lee Daho. "One of the first things we did after taking control of your communication systems was to send messages to every world in your empire. We shared our technology, our strategies, our knowledge of your weaknesses." The holographic display changed to show communication networks. Lines of light connected dozens of worlds, all centered on Earth. "Congratulations," Lee Daho said. "You didn't just lose Earth, you lost your entire empire." Engineer Han Dongwu walked into the room, carrying a tablet computer. "Commander Thaxel, I thought you might want to see this." The tablet showed a live video feed from the Valerian homeworld. The massive cities that had stood for thousands of years were dark. Ships that looked like human designs, but bigger and more advanced, hung in the sky above them. "The rebellion reached your homeworld 3 days ago," Han Dongwu explained. "Your own people have surrendered to the coalition forces." "Coalition forces?" Thaxel asked weakly. 37 species that you conquered over the past 50 years, said Dr. Park Minji. They call themselves the Free Worlds Coalition, and they elected Earth as their military headquarters. Thaxel was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "How? How did you do this so quickly?" Han Dongwu smiled. "You want to know the secret? You gave us everything we needed. Your technology, your star maps, your communication networks, your transportation systems. You connected your entire empire with perfect efficiency. That made it easy for us to take over the entire empire with perfect efficiency. But more than that," added Dr. Park Minji, You underestimated every species you conquered. You thought we were all primitive. You thought we couldn't learn. You thought we would always be weaker than you. You were wrong about all of us, said Lee Dae-ho. And when we started working together, we became something you never expected, something stronger than your empire ever was. Captain Kim Jae-won activated another display. This one showed space battles happening across the galaxy, but the human ships in these battles looked nothing like the primitive vessels that had fought the Valyrians a year ago. This is the Soul's Pride too, Kim Jae-won said, pointing to a massive warship. It's 10 times bigger than your largest ship. It uses technology from 15 different species, all improved by human engineering, and it's just one of 50 ships in the Earth Defense Fleet. 50? Thaxel asked. We've been busy, said Han Dongwu. Turns out when you give humans access to advanced technology and a good reason to be creative, we can build things pretty quickly. The display showed more ships. The Busan's Revenge, the Incheon's Freedom, the Daegu's Hope. Every ship is different because every ship was designed by a different team of human engineers, working with technology from different conquered species. Dr. Park Min-ji pointed to technical specifications on the screen. Your empire used the same ship designs for thousands of years. Very efficient, but not very innovative. We've designed 47 different ship types in the past 6 months. Each one is specialized for different tasks. But the ships aren't the best part, said Lee Dae-ho. The best part is the crews. The display changed to show the inside of one of the ships. The crew was not human. They were Rilari, Corvani, and members of other species that had been conquered by the Valyrians. Every species you conquered had different strengths, Lee Dae-ho explained. The Rilari are excellent pilots. The Corvani are brilliant strategists. The Zephyrians are master engineers. You kept them all separate so they couldn't combine their abilities. We brought them all together, added Captain Kim Jae-won. Human creativity, Rilari piloting skills, Corvani strategy, Zephyrian engineering. The result is crews that are better than anything your empire ever produced. Thaxel looked around the room at the humans who had defeated his empire. What do you want from me? Information, said Dr. Park Min-ji. There are still Valyrian forces scattered across the galaxy. Some of them might try to regroup and attack civilian targets out of revenge. We need to know where they are so we can stop them. And after that? Lee Dae-ho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, after that, we rebuild. The Free Worlds Coalition isn't an empire like yours was. It's an alliance of equal partners. Every species contributes what they're good at. Every species benefits from what others contribute. Even Valyrians, Thaxel asked. Even Valyrians, Lee Dae-ho confirmed. Your people aren't evil. Your system was evil. Your people can learn to be part of something better. Han Dongwu showed Thaxel another display. This one showed construction projects happening across the galaxy. Massive space stations, new shipyards, research facilities, and colonies. This is what we're building, Han Dongwu said. Not an empire that conquers and controls. A civilization that explores and creates. The Rilari are teaching us about faster-than-light travel, said Dr. Park Min-ji. The Corvani are sharing their knowledge of quantum physics. The Zephyrians are showing us how to build machines that can think. And humans are teaching everyone how to improve, how to innovate, how to make everything better than it was before, added Captain Kim Jae-won. In 5 years, said Lee Dae-ho, this galaxy will be a completely different place. Not because one species conquered everyone else, but because everyone chose to work together. Thaxel stared at the displays, showing the new civilization being built on the ruins of his empire. It was bigger than the Valyrian Empire had ever been. It was more advanced than the Valyrian Empire had ever been. And it was growing faster than the Valyrian Empire ever had. How long did it take you to plan this? He asked. Lee Dae-ho smiled. We didn't plan it, that's the point. We just started working together and let the results surprise us. Your empire planned everything for thousands of years and never changed. We change every day and get stronger every day. That's the difference between conquest and cooperation, said Dr. Park Min-ji. Conquest creates resentment that grows over time. Cooperation creates trust that grows over time. And trust, said Han Dongwu, is much more powerful than fear. Through the window of the command center, Thaxel could see Earth's sky. Ships from dozens of different species flew overhead, not as conquerors or conquered, but as allies working together. For the first time in his life, Thaxel understood that the Valerian Empire had been weak, not strong. They had been primitive, not advanced. They had been small, not great. And the creatures they had thought were primitives had just shown the entire galaxy what true strength looked like. 18 months after the first alien ships appeared over Earth, Hive Commander Thaxel stood in the same place where he had once announced the conquest of humanity. But now everything was different. The building was still the United Nations headquarters, in New York, but it had been expanded. New towers reached toward the sky, built with technology from dozens of different worlds. Ships from 37 different species landed and took off from the roof every day. The sign outside the building no longer said Human Administration Center. Now it said Free Worlds Coalition Headquarters in 43 different languages. Thaxel was no longer a prisoner. He was an advisor. His knowledge of Valerian military systems had helped the Coalition locate and peacefully contact the last scattered Valerian forces across the galaxy. Most of them had chosen to join the Coalition rather than continue fighting a war they could never win. "Commander Thaxel," said Li Deho, walking up to him. The human leader now wore a uniform that combined symbols from many different species. "The Council is ready for your final report." They walked together through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Rilari pilots with their feathered wings, Corvani strategists with their multiple arms, Zephyrian engineers with their mechanical augmentations, and humans who somehow looked comfortable talking to all of them. "I still don't understand," Thaxel said as they walked. "How did you convince so many different species to work together? The Valerian Empire tried for thousands of years to create unity through conquest. You achieved it in 18 months through, what?" Li Deho smiled. "Respect. We asked each species what they were good at and what they needed help with. Then, we matched them up with species who could help them and who needed their help." They entered the council chamber, a vast room with representatives from every member species of the Coalition. At the center of the room was a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. "The final Valerian holdout fleet has agreed to join the Coalition," announced Dr. Park Minji from the speaker's platform. "As of today, every former Valerian territory is now part of the Free Worlds Alliance." Applause filled the chamber, but it sounded different from human applause. Each species had its own way of showing approval. The Rilari chirped melodically. The Corvani clicked their claws in rhythm. The Zephyrians created harmonic tones with their mechanical voices. Captain Kim Jae-won, now Fleet Admiral Kim Jae-won, stepped forward to give the military report. "Coalition forces have established peaceful contact with 12 previously unknown species beyond former Valerian territory. All 12 have expressed interest in joining our alliance. That brings our total membership to 49 species," added Engineer Han Dongwu, who now served as the Coalition's Chief Technology Coordinator. "Our combined knowledge base grows every day." Thaxel listened to the reports with amazement. The Free Worlds Coalition controlled more territory than the Valerian Empire ever had. Their technology was more advanced than Valerian technology ever was. Their military was more powerful than the Valerian military ever was. But unlike the Valerian Empire, the Coalition was growing stronger every day instead of struggling to maintain control. The difference, Dr. Park Minji had explained to him weeks earlier, is that the Valerian Empire was held together by fear. Fear makes people obedient, but it also makes them weak and uncreative. The Coalition is held together by mutual benefit. When everyone gains from cooperation, everyone works harder to make cooperation succeed. During a break in the council session, Thaxel found himself in conversation with representatives from several species that the Valerians had conquered years earlier. "You must hate us," he said to Velnari, a Rilari pilot whose world had been conquered 8 years ago. Velnari's feathered head tilted, and what Thaxel had learned was the Rilari equivalent of a smile. "Hate? No. We're grateful." "Grateful? You're..." Conquest forced us to become stronger. When the humans contacted us and showed us how to fight back, we were ready. If you had never conquered us, we might never have joined the coalition. We would have stayed isolated on our one world, never knowing what we could accomplish working with others. A Corvani strategist named Zethkar joined the conversation. The Valerian Empire believed that strength came from controlling others, but true strength comes from empowering others. The humans taught us that. How? Thaxel asked. By example, said Zethkar. They didn't conquer us. They didn't demand that we serve them. They shared their knowledge freely and asked us to share ours. They showed us that we could be partners, not subjects. Engineer Han Dongwu overheard the conversation and joined them. That's the secret that the Valerian Empire never understood. When you help others become stronger, you become stronger too. When you share knowledge, you don't lose it. You gain more. He gestured to a nearby display showing coalition technology developments. Look at our newest ships. They use human engineering principles, Relari flight dynamics, Corvani strategic systems, Zephyrian manufacturing techniques, and Valerian power technology. None of us could have built these ships alone. Together, we built something none of us ever imagined. Thaxel studied the technical specifications. The ships were indeed beyond anything the Valerian Empire had ever created. But more impressive was how quickly they had been developed. How long did this take? He asked. 6 months from concept to prototype, Han Dongwu replied. With 49 species contributing ideas and expertise, we can develop new technology faster than any single species ever could. The council session resumed with reports from across the galaxy. Former factory worker Shin Hyejin, now the coalition's director of industrial development, announced that production capacity had increased by 300% in the past year. Every species brings different manufacturing techniques, she explained. We're not just using the best method from one species. We're combining the best methods from all species to create something even better. Former farmer Yang Sunwoo, now director of agricultural development, reported similar success. Coalition worlds are producing 400% more food than they did under Valerian rule. And the food is more nutritious because we're combining agricultural knowledge from dozens of different worlds. Pilot Lee Gina, now commanding one of the coalition's exploration fleets, gave the most exciting report of all. We've discovered 3 new species in unexplored regions of the galaxy. All 3 have unique technologies that could benefit the entire coalition. What kind of technologies? Asked Li Deho. The Nethys have developed medical techniques that can cure diseases we thought were incurable. The Vorthak have energy storage, systems that could revolutionize space travel. The Quilani have discovered new principles of physics that could change how we understand the universe. And they're willing to share this knowledge? They're eager to share it, Li Gina replied. When we explained how the coalition works, they immediately asked to join. They said they've been waiting their entire history for the chance to work with other species. As the session continued, Thaxel realized something that shocked him. The Free Worlds Coalition wasn't just bigger and stronger than the Valerian Empire had been. It was happier. Under Valerian rule, conquered species had been fed, housed, and protected, but they had been miserable. Under coalition partnership, species worked harder than they ever had before, but they were enthusiastic about their work. Atirao, difference, communications specialist Park Sungmin explained during another break, is purpose. Under your empire, conquered species worked because they had to. In the coalition, species work because they want to. They can see how their contributions help everyone. But don't some species try to take advantage of others? Thaxel asked. Sometimes, Park Sungmin admitted. But the coalition has a solution for that. Any species that tries to exploit others gets cut off from coalition benefits. They quickly discover that cooperation gives them more than exploitation ever could. The final report of the day came from Dr. Park Minji, who had become the coalition's chief science officer. Her report was about the future. Based on our current rate of technological development and expansion, she announced, the coalition will make contact with every intelligent species in this galaxy within 50 years. We estimate that there are approximately 200 species we haven't met yet. And after that? Asked a representative from one of the newer member species. Dr. Park Minji smiled. After that, we start exploring other galaxies. The session ended with the traditional coalition closing ceremony. Representatives from each species shared one new piece of knowledge they had learned from another species that day. It was a small ritual, but it symbolized the core principle that made the coalition work. As beings from 49 different worlds shared discoveries, innovations, and insights, Thaxel finally understood what the humans had really done. They hadn't just defeated the Valyrian Empire. They had created something entirely new. A civilization based not on conquest, but on cooperation. Not on fear, but on trust. Not on control, but on freedom. After the ceremony, Lee Daho found Thaxel standing alone, looking out at the busy spaceport where ships from dozens of worlds came and went.